Okay, Gary.
Okay, thank you. Now 6 p.m. and September 30th meeting, the CDA, please come to order. Patrick, would you take roll call, please?
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Alderperson Keen,
Here.
Alderperson Weigel,
Here.
Mike Suda,
Here.
Richard Badger,
Present.
Tom Medley.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have one. Thank you. First
Oh, Chair
item-
Monitor.
Oh, yes. He doesn't count it.
Yeah.
Move approval of the minutes.
Is there any changes or additions? If not, all in favor?
Second.
Second.
If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Minutes stand approved. First item on the agenda is the public hearing. We have two of them. We'll do the first one first. I call this meeting the Community Development Authority of the City of West to order. Roll call will be taken. We already did that. We skipped that. I, Gerald Meyer, Chairman of the Community Development Authority, the notice of the hearing will now be read. Public hearing regarding proposed amendment tax increment district number 7, as well as for discussion and possible action on resolutions regarding proposed projects and undertaking within 1/2 mile radius of eligible project cost identification in the project plan of tax increment number 7. The Executive Director of the Community Development Authority has filed with the authority to notice to the hearing. The affidavits of the publication will be filed as soon as it's received by official newspaper as required by section 66.1105 Wisconsin statutes. This document will be made part of the recordings of this procedure. The purpose of this hearing to afford a full opportunity to all interested parties to express their views regarding the proposed amendment tax increment district number 7, as well as for discussion and possible action on the resolution regarding proposed projects to be undertaken within 1/2 mile radius of the eligible project cost identified in project plan for tax increment district number 7. That would be right. Following the closing of the hearing, the authority will consider a vote on resolution to approving the amendment of the tax protected tax plan increment district number 7, the city of West Allis in Wisconsin. If adopted, the resolution will be submitted to the common council of the city of West Allis for approval, provided in section 66.1105, the state of Wisconsin statutes. Patrick, you now have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. TIF number 7 was created in 2004 for the development of the Summit Place office complex. It's generally the old campus of the manufacturing campus of the Ellis Chalmers manufacturing campus. So most of those spaces back then were considerably vacant or left in disrepair. And after years of investment, it was converted into 650,000 square feet of office space. That TIF expenditure period is coming to an end in 2026. And as previously discussed here with the CDA, our staff recommendation is to use some of the positive tax increment that the TIF has approved and use that for 3 things. 1, a donation to TIF number 6, a donation to TIF number 13. And let me, just for everyone's knowledge here, there's a TIF report that you'll have later, but in there, it actually spells a little bit further out what TIFs these are. So TIF number 7 is Summit Place. TIF number 6 is Juneau Highlands, referred to previously historically with a bad marketing name called Line Pit. And TIF 13 is roughly 113th in Greenfield, just south, and that's the Home Juice site where we had some midnight dumping between 2 properties, and we created a small TIF to accommodate development on that site. Well, TIF 6 and TIF 13 are fully developed. TIF 6 has a pad for additional 45,000 square feet, but in terms of the TIF period, there won't be any additional development. And it is slightly underperforming in terms of being able to achieve the final payoff of that TIF. So there is a fund balance in that TIF of 1.2 million that would need to be paid. And then Home Juice has 250,000. And that building, I think, is listed for 1.1, 1.2. And our original goal was 1.5 million in terms of tax base up the site. So it's not hitting the higher value that was projected. We are recommending a TIF donation to those, that both of those TIFs can be resolved and closed, and we protect the the city taxpayers from any future requirement to pay off those two TIFs. What you see here are those debt service balances that we have in the TIFs. TIF number, cash flow for TIF number 6, you can see is cumulative in the red. And then with the payment of $1.2 million, you can see then we would pay it off in 2026. And we have one for TIF 13. You can see it has a negative fund balance on the left. Debt service that is, and it's not hitting the full amount. It's generating around $21 million a year, or $21,000 a year in tax increment, not enough to overcome the interest and debt service that's there. And so we're recommending a payment of $215,000, and that would resolve the debt service on that TIF number 13. Other part of this is with the cash flow from TIF number 7, is that right now there's around a $6.6 million positive fund balance, or it's performing well. There's extra increment in the TIF. And part of the statutes under 66.1105 is that you can also do, besides the donation we just talked about, you can do improvements within a half mile of the TIF. So with this project plan amendment tonight, we also are recommending the $880,000 for the purchase of the motor casting site, which was previously approved by the CDA, and the 2 extra parcels, as well as $1 million for possible improvements at Summit Place or with the space with blast cleaning technologies. We've outlined that before about the ongoing maintenance and conditions there. And we have a business that moved in there in 2018 with 80 employees. They're almost at 400 today, but the infrastructure within that building is 100 years old. So there's a chance that there could be ongoing improvements there, or as a business, they might have to look at other locations. And then we put $500,000 in for its maker's role for maintaining affordable rents. We are getting numbers in on projects there, and we see that there would be additional gaps to fill in terms of the cost between items needed to build out the space, et cetera. So in totality, again, $1.2 million to satisfy the debt of TIF number 6, $215,000 to satisfy the debt of TIF 13, and then $880,000 for the acquisition of the motor casting site, $500,000 for motor castings, and $1 million for either Summit Place tenant upgrades or blast cleaning technologies. That would be the project plan amendment for TIF number 7. The other thing to note is that the TIF is performing well. It is generating between almost projected 1.6 million, almost 1.7 million in increment on an annual basis. It has had some fluctuation in terms of value. It previously had a value of around 100,000 through some equalized value calculations, and it's gone down. I think we're around 68 million today, and we're going to go into that under the TIF report that is on tonight's agenda as well. But overall, as staff, we recommend the amendment. I'd gladly answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Chair.
Okay.
So tax incremental district number 7 is Summit Place.
Correct.
So we're gonna borrow from Summit's Place TIF to.
No, it's a donation of
Oh,
the
donation.
6.6 million that's accrued. There currently, you would use that increment pool to pay off those other 2 TIFs. And that also comes as
Then what's the 1 mil for Summit or the glass cleaning?
that is a earmark
Oh,
from that fund balance. Potentially, we've been in discussions with glass since the beginning of this year.
right.
They have ingress egress issues. They also have transformers. I understand where parts cannot be ordered. If that transformer blows, there's no solution to the power for their space. And they're looking at doing upgrades. We also know that they're looking at other space in other communities.
Mhm.
So we're trying to be prepared. Doesn't mean we're going to spend it. We also know Summit Place has reached out about tenant upgrades, and it's very costly to take big spaces like from Blue Cross Blue Shield or Children's or whatever's left in that space and convert it into smaller spaces for tenants, and be able to achieve your numbers. So we're just trying to be prepared for those requests that we've kind of been in discussions about. And we want to be prepared. Now's the time to do the amendment versus coming back and doing another amendment.
Got it. Thank you.
Go ahead, Tom.
What's gonna happen with the locations if you do donate for 6 and 13?
If we don't,
If you do,
if we do, the TIFs are satisfied. And then the values in those TIFs go onto the general basis for the city, which has the goal of reducing the property taxes in the city. So
those are locations, are they like,
nothing changes in the locations.
okay,
So TIF 6 is still the corporate headquarters of Glen Reader,
okay.
which has, I think, 300 employees.
Yeah, there's 350.
350 employees. So we took a site that was a case of brownfield, where the byproduct was lime on the site, was used as a salvage yard, and got it into a corporate headquarters. So it's achieved the goals. It just, the state assesses manufacturing properties, and it's not hitting the higher number in order to pay off that debt service. So we're trying to expedite that, pay that off, so there's no lingering issue of a tax debt that doesn't pay off, which then we would have to put onto the city's taxes.
Any questions?
Mr.
Go
Clerk,
ahead. Alderman Lloyd.
I think,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wayne's.
Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Patrick. That $1 million for Blaster Summit, will this body have an opportunity to look at the specific application of those monies?
Correct, 100%.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Patrick, when does TIF 7 close?
The expenditure period ends in 2026. With this action tonight, when we do the amendments, we can also, our goal is to come back and close the TIF in 2026. The other nuance, which we've talked about before, is that if we can keep it open for one more year,
We can do another donation.
we can do, the increment would be put into an affordable housing.
That's
fund.
right.
And that's governed by statute. We might be able to even do that with the fund balance and also, close the TIF in the same year. But instead of waiting one more year to do that, so the value could come online, sooner.
I think the taxpayers would appreciate it
So that would be 3
next
next
year.
year.
Yeah,
Correct.
thank you.
Go ahead.
Well, so just one more question. So how long has TIF 6 and 13 been open?
So TIF 6 is 2006. I think it's in the book there. Yeah, right on top. I'm not sure. What do you think of that?
Projected closer.
Okay, thank you.
And then the 13. It's less than, I don't remember the year off the top of my head.
13's projected closing is 2031. I assume that's without this donation.
We're actually, by doing this, saving interest
2009.
and making sure that it does pay off.
And it's
2009.
Southwest Group created in 2011.
11. So 2011 was 2013, or tip number 13. In 2003 was Lime Pit
2004.
4. That was Summit Place.
Oh,
I think.
no, 6 Juneau
Oh,
Highlands.
we did both. Then.
Yeah.
Those
Established in
great years are all blended
2011.
together.
Those busy years.
Yes.
Patrick, if this was passed on to the taxpayers, how much would the taxpayers have to pay?
I'm gonna have to defer that with it. Yeah. So it'd be the same amount of debt that we see on the screen is what we could transfer.
I guess I'm not entirely sure what the question is.
So if we did not pay off TIF 6 and pay off TIF 13, the amount of debt, if it's not satisfied, what would it cost the taxpayers?
There's a projection for both of those that has a deficit for the one. TID 6 had a deficit. So if you were to bring up that slide again, we'd be able to see it.
Yep.
So projected deficit of 207,000.
Yep.
Projected. And then 13 the Ehlers model, I think actually shows that it's just barely gonna cash flow. My prior cash flows were showing that it wasn't going to cash flow, so it's right there at that kind of iffy spot. We can have an opportunity with TID 7 to take care of a potential future problem and get these on the tax roll sooner rather than later. Was the goal. But if we were to leave these play out, those would be the two numbers. One would maybe break even, and the other one would cost the city about $200,000.
Right, good question.
Any other questions? Read this whole thing. Are there any questions from the public back here? I don't see any. All right. And I'll declare this public hearing closed. What was the next one?
Thank you.
Okay.
A lot of moving numbers.
A lot of moving parts. It's a great way to say that. I don't think residents completely understand that you're saving the city money. You know, in the grand scheme of things. So savings.
I, the Executive Director of the Community Development Authority, has filed with the authority a notice of a hearing. The affidavits of publication will be filed as soon as possible, is received from the official newspaper as required by section 66.1105 of Wisconsin statutes. These documents will be made part of the recording of proceedings in this matter. The purpose of this hearing is to afford a full opportunity to interested parties to express their views regarding the proposed tax creation tax increment district number 21, its purposes, boundaries, and proposed project plan. Following closing this meeting, the authority will consider a vote on resolution establishing the boundaries and approving the project plan of tax increment district number 21, city of West Dallas, Wisconsin. If adopted, the resolution will be submitted to the community development community council of the city of West Dallas for approval and provided section 66.1105 of Wisconsin statutes. I will now ask Mr. Slide, the Executive Director of the authority, and to designate staff to make a brief presentation with presence of the proposed authority project.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight, we're fulfilling the statutory obligation or starting the process here for the creation of a new tax increment district in our city. So this would be tax increment district number 21. It would be 92nd in Greenfield, the former St. Aloysius site. You can see here based on the designated boundary, which is the black outline that you see on the screen. There's general one parcel, 1405 South 92nd Street. We also included right of way around the site. So the number one area, which is the whiter area around the word draft, that's around 3 acres of land, and with the right of way comes up to be around 5.67 acres. We included the right of way within the district because of other improvements that might be necessary, whether it's connections, pedestrian improvements, biking, etc. The current value of the site, can go back one more. So the current base value of the property is 600,000. That's pretty much land. Well, it is land now. The church and the school and the rectory have all been raised at the site by F Street under an agreement with the CDA. So that part is complete. So the CDA does own the site. It is under a land contract with F Street currently. So the purpose of tonight's process is that we adopt the boundaries or discuss the boundaries for the TIF. We look at the economic feasibility. We also look at the but-for test and allow for public comment on the creation of the TIF. The main premise of this TIF, under state statute, is you have to say it's a redevelopment TIF or a blighted TIF or environmental TIF or industrial TIF. So in this case, we are looking at a blighted TIF because the properties were vacant for over 3 years. They've also were vandalized, broken into, left in bad shape, water coming through the roof, etc. On the site. So again, 53% of the boundary area is meets the definition of blight and that fulfills the statute. The proposed development is a 105 unit mid-rise apartment building that would be on the prominent on the corner of 92nd and Greenfield, as well as 42 garden style apartments that are walk-ups with garages attached or surface parking spaces as well. The proposed development is close to $40 million, 37.8 million. And the reason, here's the proposed site plan. You can see it has surface parking, dog run area, grilling patio, etc. The development would have amenities such as rooftop area, community room, and co-working stations on the site as well. Here's the town hall. Again, individual units with walk-ups or walk-ins along 92nd Street. So the project goes from mid-rise down to the two-tier, which blends in closer to the residential style of the site. In the review of the TIF, of course, the base value, which we just talked about, of the 698,000 of equalized value. Looking at our current mill rate, you can see here it would generate, we'll say by year 5, $629,870 of tax increment. Other than that land cost, before this it was zero. So we're going in a positive direction for this particular site. And it has a projected value of adding, construction costs are 40, but the actual assessment is closer to 31 million on the site. So if we looked at using the state statute, what state statute is 66.1105, a TIF can go up to 27 years for blight. This model is purely just what can be achieved in those 27 years in terms of increment. We continue negotiations with the developer, and we'll be bringing a development agreement back here to the CDA for approval, probably in the month of October. But as of right now, if you looked at the net present value of the increment stream, it'd be around $7.8 million of cash today, what could be generated from the TIF. We always look at the net present value. The $14 million looks like a big number if you look at the total when you add it at the bottom, but that's not the value of that money today. So again, the project is not able to hit market rate returns because of the cost of construction. Rents, even though they seem high to many people, don't overcome the cost of construction. Where that's one of the but-for tests on this. And we look at the market study that was done, etc. The site also was a blight. You had the cost to cure the site. It's not a greenfield. You had to tear down $1 million worth of demo on the site, and etc. And the ability to address cost of construction and providing the time necessary to hit the market returns to raise equity for the development. So that's really the economic feasibility and but-for test for the project. Within the TIF plan, we also put, if extra increment is achieved in the TIF, $250,000 for park improvements, whether it's Roosevelt or Reservoir Park or the Follett Park, which are both in a half mile of that site. $250,000 for bump outs or pedestrian improvements or bike trail enhancements. And then we also did $250,000 for economic or housing incentives. We've done this in other TIFs where we either do housing rehab loans for that half mile of the TIF, or we provide facade grants or economic development loans for new businesses moving into the corridor. And this is a great example when you have CVS drugstore sitting empty on the other corner and maybe are trying to attract. But this is only if we get the increment. We're putting it in the TIF plan so we wouldn't have to come back and do an amendment later. There is a half mile rate map. It's not the yellow that exceeds off like that. It's generally the circle of the half mile from the property, and that's all governed by statute.
And the 250K for the housing rehab can be for
Typically,
individual homes
it is
as well as businesses?
both, yes. We've done, we have a housing loan program. If you don't qualify for the federal housing rehab program, and if you're in a half mile of a TIF, the funds are used to help do home improvements such as low interest loans for a roof, curb appeal. Main thing is curb appeal. If you And then we get into the mechanical, how is the furnace, et cetera. We've done this since we've created tip number 5 and 6. And tip 11 and 14, we've added this provision because we've, a tip is not an island and the area around it, if that doesn't improve as well, and this provides some way to provide improvements to the area around the site too. So if residents want to walk and see what's going on, improving the homes around it at a lower interest rate provides the West Dallas residents a quick benefit as well.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Has there been any interest in the CVS from any developers?
That's a good question. We have seen some inquiries. Since I don't have an agenda size on tonight's agenda, I can't really talk too much about it, but
I would
we
assume
have
that this
met
development.
we have met with the broker. It's currently still leased by CBS. And they are looking to see if they can sublease the site.
I'm assuming CVS must have a long-term lease.
Correct.
20 years, I think it was.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
If we could maybe put CVS on the agenda coming up soon, that would be great. 'Cause I think people just kind of think it's like, right now, the alternate city dump. Which it's not. So some of the residentials and businesses in there, they would be combined with 2 tips between CHR and this one? Or does,
Potentially.
okay.
Yeah.
Can someone or a business in that area take advantage of housing rehab from both tips?
We would look at it as what is the gap,
Okay,
and we would figure out where we could use, whether it's our CDBG loan program or one of the TIF
okay.
programs. We wouldn't just,
It's not just writing checks.
yeah, no, we would make sure, and then we always come back either to council or to CDA for those approvals, so.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
And that's not a lot of money, but either way,
No.
like you have the Slurper Burp sitting empty across the street from the site, which is a blight, and to get something more active
Bubble
there.
in.
Mhm.
Whatever it's in,
Somebody's in there.
it's a property that needs
It
improvement,
needs help.
whereas this like what the Red Peddler did and how they enhanced the corridor.
Mhm.
That's what we will want to see more of.
Right. And Nora just opened right there too,
Yeah.
mental health, so.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Mr.
Mr.
Chair. Patrick, on the boundary, I understand the right of way, but why wouldn't you include the right of way in front of the privately owned property, also on 92nd Street? So if you did anything on 92nd Street, you could continue. You see what I mean?
You're saying right here?
It's a separate parcel. We have to be contiguous.
Oh, I see it. That's
Did
the.
I answer it for you, Harry?
Yep. Yeah, it needs to touch a parcel on one side of the right of way. And so since that middle parcel isn't
So then
included,
how about just making it a little tiny?
Can't make a donut. I don't think.
Well, it wouldn't be a donut. Just, well, anyways.
you can incur the same cost within the half mile as you can directly
Oh,
within
okay.
the district. So you can
Yeah.
still fund improvements there. It just falls under a slightly different bucket of the statute.
Thank you.
And we did not add CVS to this boundary because it could actually cause a decrement to the value because it's not improving. Or you lose the
You want to
value.
start at the bottom.
It
You want to start the tit at the
it still
bottom.
had that value of a CVS drugstore. It's not low enough. And then if you created it there with the gain more, it actually caused more of a reduction in the increment in this project on the 92nd. Because our thought was to add CVS. All right, I'm glad to answer any questions.
Is there any, thought about creating a bid within the TIF for the businesses that are in the area?
That's a good question. That's something that, a commercial corridor, could be done, like a neighborhood improvement district or a business improvement district. That has been done, and we have one in the city. I'd like to see more of those in the city, but it's up to those property owners and, residents if they want to tax themselves more, to make enhancements to that corridor. Or to have a managed district.
But it doubles the initiative.
It makes the initiative much better, but there are movements in that area there is, it's slipping my mind right now. What's the neighborhood district around the
Conrad
site?
Gardens.
Conrad Gardens. There's a neighborhood, not district, but neighborhood association in that neighborhood as well.
Gotcha.
And they've been active,
Mhm.
so. So the timeline for the amendments and this TIP plan would, as tonight, we have the public hearing. And then it would go to common council on October 21st. And then the next joint review board meeting after it's posted, the session would be November 10th at 9 a.m.
Okay, I'll forego the formal proceeding, but are there any questions regarding this tip? If not.
Don, you want to say anything?
No, all I'll add is that we're making, great progress. We just got a loan commitment the other day, from our construction lender for the deal, and we've raised approximately 75% of the necessary equity to capitalize the project. So on the financing front, we're making great progress, and we just released our MEP to start shop drawing. So yeah, we're tracking, and hopefully we'll be going vertical sometime in mid to late November.
And you're starting with the townhomes?
Correct, yeah.
Seeing no other questions, I, Gerald Dodd, Chairman of the CDA, declare this closed. One, is that anything?
We're on item 4.
All right. You want to go through all of these, or you want to hold them for closed session?
I think we can adopt,
Or in-
unless you want, it's up to you. Want to go into closed session to discuss anything?
Move approval of resolution number 4.
Second. Move for approval, is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions regarding item number 4? If not, you have to roll call vote.
Richard Badger,
Yes.
Mike Suter,
Yes.
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Tom Medley,
Yes.
Alderman Weigel,
Yes.
Alderperson Keen,
Yes.
Jerry Motter,
Yes.
resolution passes.
Five.
Mr. Chair, I'd move approval of the resolution for number 5.
Second.
So moved in second, any further discussion or questions? If not. Take roll call, please.
Richard Badger,
Yes.
Mike Suter,
Yes.
Tom Medley,
Yes.
Alderman Weigel,
Aye.
Alderperson Keen.
Aye.
Jerry Motter,
Yes.
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
resolution passes.
Go to item number 6, discussion regarding proposed at 6777 West National Progress.
Mr. Chairman, I think we would like to discuss that in closed session.
All right. Hold that. Number 7, resolution approving temporary storage agreement with Hop Brewing Company for the use of portions of the property located at 6771 West National Avenue. The parking lot?
No, Mr. Chairman, they just asked if they could use 6771 for a short time to store. They bought some inventory and they're looking for storage that's convenient. It's, you can see here, 9 empty fermenters, pallets, just a small inventory of stuff, and we just thought, don't see any problem with it.
This
Is
is
that for a year or is it for
straightforward.
the-
I'd move approval.
Yeah. They would say they'd pay us $100 a month. That's for a short term.
Yeah, it's,
All right.
we just give them 30 days notice and they have to get their stuff out of there. And they're only taking a very small portion.
Promise me this won't be more than.
Yes.
Oh, right, yes, very short. term.
Yes.
Water's rights.
Is this for here or their new location? Do we know the fermenters?
Do not.
I don't know offhand. He just said he got a really good deal on this.
Breweries are
Yeah.
starting to close.
But I also know that the brewery for the other location, all the brewing would occur here in West Dallas. They weren't putting a brewing system.
Oh,
in-
they're not.
but maybe it's changed, but I understood there was not going. They might show like it's,
We can look like a brewery.
Yeah.
That happens to us. Small.
Okay.
Where is it? Remind me, is it Oshkosh or Appleton?
Appleton, College Avenue.
Is there a second on the resolution?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution passes.
What are we gonna do with the $100?
Does that have to be taken?
I don't know.
Vote?
Do we need this
Do a roll
one by
call.
vote or-
Yes. Richard Badger,
Aye.
Jerry Motter,
Yes.
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Mike Suter,
Yes.
Tom Medley,
Yes.
Alderman Weigel,
Aye.
Alderperson Keen.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Item number 7, resolution approving temporary, oh, wait, excuse me, item number 8, review of annual PE 300 reports and the performance and statutes of the city active tax increment district.
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I want to compliment Sean for each year we kind of pass off who's going to do the big report on the tips, and he drew the short straw and did a great job with, I was out last week at a conference and traveled this weekend, so he kept me informed what was, all the information was being put together. So we have a good rolling document here. He provided an update here. There's a packet in front of you of all the open tips and all the closed tips, so it gives you the whole story and all the portfolio that we have in terms of tax increment districts. And because some of these numbers are hard to see from a distance, we provided you an 11 by 17 document to help with seeing all these big numbers. So Sean's gonna give a highlight of the portfolio. I'd like to call it portfolio, I guess, because it has a really good story. And it shows that there's still continued growth in our city.
Thank you, Patrick. Yep, so we provide this annual update every year, as Patrick noted. We are in September, almost October of 25, and this is actually a report on the full year 24 numbers. So we're already kind of getting the 25s in, but this is, just to be clear, a report on the end of year 24. The big story here is the TIFs are in very good shape. Behind the big page that you have in front of you is 8.5 by 11s. That's the assessed values that we had a reassessment in 2024, which kind of changed the game. And you kind of see our TIFs increased in value by $44 million. Based on that reassessment, based on some new construction, but we didn't have a ton of new construction in that year. So you see our assessments went way up. But a big part of the story is the state every year, because cities can't reassess. It's not reassess every single year. The state puts a ratio on the city's assessed dollars and adjust them every year based on what they think the market is in each city at that time. And they put one whole ratio on all the TIFs. So if residential goes up and you have a lot of TIFs with residential, it can really sway things versus office versus industrial. So big story here is, you can see that our trend is positive on the assessed. And then tried to show an example here on the screen. So TIF 7 that we talked about, Summit Place and kind of the surrounding old Alice Chalmers manufacturing area. For example, assessed value in 23 was 72 million, but the state had a 66% ratio on our TIF, on all TIF assessed values at that time. That actually adds basically that difference, like 33% of value to it. So our equalized, what they call, which is what the state puts on it, was 109 million on that 72 million. Now, when we reassessed, obviously the office market, of the three markets, right, probably the weakest Class B office. So it went actually down 4 million by assessed value. Not a huge hit, but because the state's ratio went to 100% because we fully reassessed in 24, and they just said, okay, these are the numbers, we're going to take them. So because we didn't catch up to that 33% tack on that they had on the year prior, you can see that difference in value from 109 million of equalized down to 68 million. So that's just a major difference that you're going to see on this spreadsheet in the report out on the 24s. It's just important to show the increment, the difference in increment from 23 to 24 based on that. So you kind of see there's a comparison here.
Sean's looking at the big page right now. So
yeah, you can kind of see, the total increment, is 245 million in 24, and that was a drop of $91 million from the year prior. Then you can see it bounces back in 25. It was a 27% drop. And then it bounces back in 25 as we compare 23 to 25. It gets back to almost the same. So the state changed their ratio in 25 to a 85.96% ratio. So that gets us back up. Plus, if you look at TIF 19, we have, that's, we can talk about that in a second here as we move forward, but that we had 33 million of new construction there, which helps us obviously moving forward. And the next page behind, on your little packet is the 24 to 25 assessed. So you can just see that actually went up $31 million without any reassessment. So that was basically like, for the most part, just new construction, 24 to 25. So that's a positive trend. We're going to see a lot more of that moving forward. These are closed TIFs, and Patrick hit TIF
So-
1. Yeah.
So you can see here of the closed TIFs, we have around $12 million in taxes that comes from 136 million in value. I mean, if you look at the original TIFs here that you see, they had a base value of 32 million and they went up to 136 million in taxable value. So that's 104 million of new increment that was added to the city's tax base through redevelopment. And the one thing there's two things I want to note. One, in TIF number one, there'll probably be around a $6 million loss in value just because the DOT bought the Poblocki property. I'm going to always bring that one up. But just my principal miss on that one. Two, looking at this, of the growth, right? So this growth is what also helps spur other investments in the city besides the boundaries. So if you see the sites that were old factories in blighted condition that were removed, and I know Wayne Clark and Jerry have been part of those stories in time, but that has cultivated the growth in our city with all the other new people moving in, the new developments, et cetera. And businesses. You don't have a blocky sign without taking the initiative to take down a 100-year-old factory, a building. So this right here is a great sign that our TIFs that are closed are still, that's a significant tax base that was added. And then if you look at the current, summary of all the TIFs, 20 TIFs, actually 21, over 100 acres of land improved. And this is just a quick dashboard, 20 million of new incremental value. And then the number of jobs, besides housing units that were added. So we've also taken dirty dirt and made it cleaner and a lot healthier for the neighborhood by doing redevelopment and addressing contaminated soils. And I know, again, Jerry and Wayne have been part of those stories about trucking dirt and dealing with the contaminants on sites. And, our historic legacy of industrial use on properties have left lasting issues. And we've slowly and surely have dealt with many of them. And TIF just continues to be the number one tool to achieve success in our city.
And then again,
The tax, what did it bring back in taxes for the closed?
Well, I think it was $12 million. If I remember right. Yeah, 12 total taxes on the right is 12 million, 11.4 for incremental. It's pretty healthy.
and then moving forward, update on some of the TIF numbers because things are always moving. TIF 16 is under construction. That's the land by label called the apiary. It's 248 market rate units. Its construction is falling in line with the timeline. Again, that's going to add it. It's a $75 million project. Taxable value will fall below that, probably in the 60s. And it's set to open in August of 26, but some great progress there. That's part of TIF 16, Alice Yards TIF, and that's 70th in Washington area. And TIF 18, also some positive manufacturing construction going on. This Chris Hansen Nova Nessa site is probably been under construction for like various phases for at least a few years, 3-4 years or more. But that's been a major investment in the area.
Just, I'd like to note on a special note on this one, you have it in your packet and your reader. So if you look at this TIF, which is TIF number 18, and you scroll down and you look, John just mentioned $165 million of construction value added there. it's probably gained 2 million. An actual tax increment on the site, because the state assesses manufacturing and pretty much all equipment and manufacturing is exempt. So you just have the shapes and sizes of the building that really add the base, and the state assesses manufacturing. And this is a common issue around the state of manufacturing properties not being assessed at a high rate compared to other properties, because the direction is probably to attract more industrial uses and jobs to our state. But from what we projected in that tip into what it is, it's great, grossly underperforming. But when I say underperforming, we did a developer funded tip, PAYGO, where anything that they achieve in terms of investing on the site and gaining increment, that's all you get. It's nothing upfront from the city, and it's all the risk is on their economic investment. So they've made a big, huge investment, and one day they called and asked where their MRO payment was. I said, there isn't any. There's not much here, so it's, you didn't pay the taxes like projected because the state adjusted everything, so the manufacturers were exempt, so. But I just wanted to note that because it sounds off when you see here's 165 million of investment and you see it's 2 million in growth.
So I think it's a way for the state to draw manufacturing
encourage
to the state of Wisconsin is to not tax them upfront. It's tricky on TIFs then, to assist on manufacturing. TIF 1986, the National Three-Leaf Development, substantially complete. They're leasing out, there's people living up in there. They're leasing out like their last floor here over the next few weeks. And there's a ribbon cutting in a few weeks out there. And they finished on schedule. Great addition to the area. Just gonna add a lot of people. Good for the businesses, good, just activity in the area. So $68 million development and completed on time. And so it's just positive things moving forward. It's a 24 report, but it's also important to see that there's a lot of positive things going on moving forward as well. And then this is kind of the missing middle housing type of housing we don't have a lot of. Is a smaller development, 8 townhome units and 11 small apartment units. Fits in nicely into the neighborhood. These are tricky to put together to make cash flow. But we were able to put it together with a local developer that actually graduated, Nathan Hale. And this was his first real project as a developer, and he's doing a great job staying on time, on task. And so
How's that coming? Good?
it's going great.
Better.
Yeah.
Did, the sign variance got approved?
I know they applied
They applied.
and the sign
Signs are
actually looks
great.
really nice. Yeah.
It still continues to have little code issues, but it's also, this is a unique type of development. And what I mean by that, and some of you might have heard the hearing, the developer coming to council and talking. I just want to briefly just talk about why you're here is, so the building has, one foundation, but these are technically single family homes that are stacked next to each other. So when it comes to interpreting the code, it gets a little, is this an apartment building or is this a single family house? So for example, there's $11,000 cost to run a Time Warner fiber through the building. Well, you can't run it through the building because it has to come into each individual building because they're individual buildings. But it's a hybrid. It's a cross between apartment and the single family. So the code says one thing and the code might not be perfect on it. But I also see it that, well, if my cable's not working and I'm on the end unit, why should you have to enter the neighbor's unit to go fix the cable, right? So, yeah, there's $11,000 extra cost there, but
They were designed as 4 separate.
yeah, they're
duplexes
siding in
eventually
between the
For
buildings
certain reasons,
Yeah.
to save some,
for fire code and things
Yeah.
like that costs, yeah.
yeah, and then other things came up.
Right.
There's no code for townhomes.
There's no,
that, perfect, that
Right.
gets the mark with them. So
that's
it's a
why I'm bringing
tricky-
it up. There's been a series of those. I've been in a series of meetings on it, between code enforcement and the developer and even meeting with the mayor. This is just a unique
Yeah.
type of construction, all the way up the state knows it too. And in this case, it has one lateral. Right? When you think of individual units, you think it would have individual laterals. Well, the plumbing code allowed it to have one lateral. So there's some codes that do work, but others that don't work that.
And it's just, it's a smaller project, smaller margins, so everything, every little hit is trickier. That wasn't expected on the front end, so there's a lot of interpretation, but it's getting done and, getting done as they said it would.
Sean and I have been through the building. It's pretty nice.
But that's all we have for that report, and happy to take any questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Clark.
Thank you. On tips 14 and 16, projected job is 225 for number 14 and 500 for number 16. What kind of progress is being made in that regard?
Yeah, so, tip 14, that would be the Granite Hills.
Yeah.
Medical complex, so there's been great growth there in terms of jobs. As well as Old Brewery. I think they're up to like 30 to 40 jobs just at the brewery. And then what other development we happen to get for 67, 71, so some of that's projected. I would say that the number for tip 16 probably should be, actually, now that I think about it, should be brought down some. Because we've done residential, but there's still other land in that area that could generate jobs, and there's still office space within 1205 and 1135 that has the potential of creating jobs too. Does that answer your question?
Mr. Chair, I have a follow-up on that. Granite Hills has been open for how long? How could it still be projecting to have 225?
I think some of those could shift to, that's a good catch, some of those could shift to creative, actually.
Okay,
'Cause Granite Hills has more than 32 employees, I
right.
believe. So we could shift that.
I just didn't know if they were planning like some big job fair or,
One thing, it's hard to get people to actually respond.
well, right.
You do a survey on this and they just never call you back. You have to find the business guy and find somebody.
Sit there, count the cars in the parking lot.
Well, we've done that too, so just. You know, they said 225 when they first moved in.
Well, but for nice stability,
So-
no problem.
If you have trouble sleeping at night or anything, we encourage you to browse through the packet that we provided, so.
And it's kind of interesting, the very last page shows the top 25 taxpayers, and I just circled the ones that were tip related, and the top seven of the top 10 are related to tip projects. Which is interesting to look at.
And the one thing nice about this is when we talk about, oh, that's tip number 7, you have this now to kind of.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Right.
just
It's nice.
And the story.
tell us what it is.
And a story of how you got there. And how the.
I like it.
CA,
It's very helpful.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
or give it to a constituent, because I'm sure with all the persons or residents.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna refer back to this so many times.
Yeah. And what's going on there? Why did they get tipped, et cetera?
Okay, any further questions? That sums it up, right?
Yeah, so we have one item to go over in closed session.
Number 6.
Yeah, 6.
All right. All right, for our agendas, items 2 to 7, the committee can convene in closed session to the provisions of the section 19.85/1/E of the state statutes for the purpose of delivering, investing in public funds whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The committee can convene in open sessions after the completion of the closed session to consider the balance of its agenda. Can I have a motion to go into closed session?
The purpose of the closed session were for the negotiation and discussions about the development.
Second.
Been moved in second. If you take roll call, please, Patrick.
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Richard Badger,
Yes.
Jerry Motter,
Yes.
Mike Suter,
Yes.
Tom Medley,
Yes.
Alderman Weigel,
Aye.
Alderperson Key.
Yes.
We are in closed session.
Closed session.
Stop the recording.
Thank you.
So,
One sec, I'm sorry, I just have to. Yeah.